Welcome back to the News from the Real World podcast. I'm Quinn.
I'm Jess.
I'm Jody.
And of course, I got the movie article this week, starting it off with 10 movies that define Pittsburgh. This is a student pick, of course, from BuzzFeed.com by Doug Ray. So they had a list of 10 movies that, deal with Pittsburgh, and what did you guys think? What did you feel was the most Pittsburghian of all the movies that they listed?
Honestly, I just really enjoyed the Apollo 13.
I was going to say, why was Apollo 13?
You had to
stupid, Jess.
it was stupid, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Recap for
I don't remember what the quote was. It was something about how
traveling to the moon is about as exciting as traveling to Pittsburgh.
The guys at Houston at the base station make traveling to the moon as exciting as traveling to Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
which traveling to Pittsburgh is not very exciting.
It's not
the highways around here are awful.
Well, no,
now.
When you get in the pretty parts where you're like going through the mountains, it's nice.
It's like 30 seconds.
It's not bad.
You come out of the tunnel and you're across the bridge.
Well, let's hear what you think is the quintessential Pittsburgh movie.
I'll be honest. I had only seen about half the movies on that
I've
list.
only seen a couple.
I guess my age is showing, but I hadn't seen. I guess I'd seen about half of them.
Yeah.
And the most recent one that I have seen, and therefore most relevant in my memory, is Perks of Being a Wallflower. And I haven't seen
that was number 10 on the list.
It was number 10 on the list, but it had all of these references to Shenley Park, and you see them driving through the Squirrel Hill Tunnel.
Yeah.
Also featured a CMU student.
Also features CMU student Adam Hagen-Booth.
Yep.
But I feel like, to me, and because I've been through Shenley Park, and I've driven through the Squirrel Hill Tunnel, or not driven, more like crawled through the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. But, I mean, you know what I mean? So to me, that's the most, it's the most relevant. But,
well, a lot of people would probably say Flashdance, that was a big hit set in Pittsburgh.
Night
a lot
of the Living
people
Dead.
would say Night of the Living Dead because it was made here. But for my money, I kind of have two. I'd say the first half of The Deer Hunter, which they have on the list, where it's like the wedding in Pittsburgh, and that's wonderful. Especially the scene where they're all hanging out in the bars, singing and dancing, but you're too good to be true. But actually, I thought Wonder Boys, based on the Michael Chabon novel, is the quintessential Pittsburgh movie. It's set at a school that's kind of like CMU, and it's about this tenured writing teacher played by Michael Douglas, who's addicted to marijuana and has a mistress who's pregnant, played by Frances McDormand, and it's absolutely wonderful. It's a wonderful comedy, wonderful, and I think it's the best Michael Douglas performance. So there you have it.
Wonder Boys, I'll have to check that out.
Wonder Boys, excellent film. Curtis Hanson, 2002? No, 2001. I want to say. No, 2000. I'm wrong. Thomas Ford says, I've seen half the movies on the list, but I'm not sure if all the movies, at least the ones that I know of, fit. Flashdance definitely belongs, and it does a great job of showing what Pittsburgh was like at that time period. Groundhog Day isn't a great Pittsburgh movie, seeing as it's set in Punxsutawney, but it does a good job of getting the whole western Pennsylvania thing. There you have it. Excellent. Moving along.
More entertainment.
Little controversy this week on the set of How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother. So this article is called How I Met Your Mother Puts White Characters in Asian Yellowface. It's an editor pick from thefrisky.com by Jessica Wakeman. And the article didn't really have a whole lot to say, except that this is what the writers of How I Met Your Mother did. And basically, spoiler alert, I have to put that out there.
Yeah, spoiler
so for those of you who follow
episodes.
How I Met Your Mother, we're going to give something away. But don't worry, not anything too recent. So,
I haven't seen anything since then.
I've never seen an episode of this.
I
watched that 5 minutes on the
I think you should. So, maybe not. Maybe just not. Don't take your impression from this
Let's
episode.
start with this episode.
Yeah, let's start with this episode. So basically, for those of you who are not familiar, they are teaching Barney, or they are teaching Marshall how to give the slap that burns the slap that burns of a million suns or something. And so they put Allison Hannigan and Colby Smutters and Josh Radnor in sort of Asian-looking, hairdos and garments and eating with chopsticks.
I eat with chopsticks.
To kind of to kind of illustrate sort of Asian these Asian masters of skills, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, it's not done in the best taste. But my question would be:
It's
would
really
you rather?
dumb.
It is.
It's really dumb.
Would you rather see an Asian person portrayed that way? Because it's just as incorrect, I think.
I mean, I
That's
think
prolonging stereotypes that
I think
aren't
what everyone is
true.
missing here is that this is How I Met Your Mother. It's a comedy. They did this to portray this ridiculous image of Marshall learning this slap, and all along while they were telling the story, it was, you didn't actually do this. None of this is true. And it's a comedy. They weren't going out to be malicious. They didn't not cast Asian performers because of anything like that. They were using the characters to tell a story, just like they have done in countless episodes before. They've told other stories.
Are you
with
really
these
going to sit
characters.
there and defend the racist?
Well, I'm not defending the racists. I'm just saying that
Jeez.
everyone is blowing this way out of proportion.
I agree with you.
I think. The beautiful thing
It's
about How I
just
Met Your
dumb
Mother is that
and
they made
bad.
fun of themselves so many times as well. The beautiful thing about this story is its accomplishment and structure, and how it's told backwards, and it's even told backwards within being told, like stories within a story, and that's kind of a one. Even this slap thing happened seasons and seasons ago.
Second season.
Yeah, so they're making fun of themselves. I'm not saying it's right, but I don't think it was ever meant to be taken too seriously. They're clearly making fun of themselves, Anyway, our readers...
What did the readers think? Were they offended?
The readers were just irritated, I think, with the writers of How I Met Your Mother. If you want to
It was
follow
just
something
really bad.
interesting, it came
That
out.
was the
It came
offensive,
out, and
most
did you
offensive
guys click on the hashtag? This is How I Met Your Racism.
No, I didn't.
Some interesting things there. Content. Hashtag How I Met Your Racism was linked with this article.
No.
Interesting content there. But our readers were just kind of like, oh, I can't believe that they did this. And it was like, well, yeah, they did. And it was deliberate. That was the gist of what the readers had to say.
Cool.
I'm going to keep watching it.
Any comments?
And I'm going to keep it. That was the comments.
Oh,
They weren't really overwhelming and astute. Sorry, guys.
There you go.
It was a
well,
piece.
Moving right along. Jess, the mental burnout
Yes.
article.
Feeling it right now.
Are you? What are you working on these days?
No, it's entirely not school related. 7 things you need to do to avoid mental burnout.
That sounds intriguing.
I have this huge leak in the roof of my apartment right now, and I'm in this massive fight
Oh.
with my landlord, and
I'm
I'm
sorry.
not sleeping at night because I have to empty the bucket every 2 hours
Oh,
because it just overflows, and it's really sad.
Oh,
Anyway,
sorry, Jess.
Mental burnout.
mental burnout. I am hitting that point right now. Punch drunk. 7 things you need to do to avoid mental burnout. It's a student pick from lifehack.com by Allison Renner. The 7 things were: watch for the signs, stay healthy, take a break from the grind, keep your days manageable, take advantage of your support system, reassess your priorities, and have a creative outlet. I feel like all of these are kind of common sense things that
Yeah.
we just need to do in everyday life, not
But
just
we
avoiding
don't
burnout.
always do that. What do you think is the most for you two? What do you think is the one on the list that you have the hardest time doing?
Ooh.
My hardest one is having a creative outlet. Like, I have them, I just never have time to utilize them.
You don't have a creative outlet?
I do.
This hub
I just-
of creativity?
Well, see, here's the thing: is
The Purnell
this
Center?
creativity is my job. So this is
Yeah.
where all the stress comes from. So
I hear
being
that.
creative in theater doesn't relieve my stress; it adds to my stress.
Well, you need hobbies.
Exactly.
I have hobbies outside of theater.
I love my hobbies outside of theater. I just never get
What
to
are
do
what are your
them.
hobbies?
I love to crochet,
Yeah.
and I play piano.
That's 2 very creative things.
There's not.
Do you have a piano in your apartment that's getting leaked in?
Well,
Because that's not a good mix.
It's really sad, but it's really far away from where the leak is. It's okay.
Okay, that's good.
What's your creative outlet?
I have a few. These days, my creative outlet is the comedy.
Yeah, that's right. Of course,
Yeah,
you're a
how's it going?
stand-up.
It's going all right. I
Yeah.
haven't been because I've been in crew and I'm going to start rehearsal next week, and
Exactly.
so I won't be able to go for a while. But
Gotta
I went.
invite us.
Yeah, maybe.
It's hard when our
It's hard.
burnout And we know how to avoid the burnout, but we
I
literally
go-
don't
yeah.
have time to with
Yeah.
the amount of things.
And I go on
we have to do
Thursdays.
in a
It's
day.
Thirsty Thursday. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't want to come.
No, I'd rather come see you
Yeah.
do stand up.
No.
I
Yeah.
get such
So
joy
cookie.
and chuckles out of here. I'm sorry, I'm the terrible host. I've taken us away
Taken
from
us
the
away.
article.
How dare you? I
Yeah.
mean, they're all pretty common sense thing. It's just the hardest part is actually doing them. We all know
Yeah.
what you have to do. It's just doing it. That's the hard part.
Right.
Are there any of
Uh,
these you're particularly good at, Quinn? Let's see.
But
You
I'm-
asked us which ones we're bad at. Which ones are you
Yeah,
good
which
at?
ones
I
are you
think
good
I'm
at?
great at the creative outlet. You know. I
What's
feel
your creative outlet?
Well, you know, I feel like my work is my creative outlet, but I also I brew beer, and then
I feel like you should let us all partake in that.
Yeah.
I run a lot too, but that's not really
Is that
creative.
creative?
That's more for my body.
That's on it. That's on the
to
list.
Yeah,
stay
take a
healthy.
break from the grind and stay healthy. There
Yeah.
you go.
Exactly.
Killing
Well,
two birds with one
those-
stone.
Katie
Yeah.
Pine says, this article has great intentions, but it's a bit basic. Nevertheless, its accuracy is spot on. Burning out is so common in this field that I think it takes a simple internet article to realize what we're doing in life. I can't tell you how many times I've forgotten basic human needs because I've been so busy.
I hear you, Katie.
Ah, Katie, you
Yeah,
got
we
3
know
more
you-
years to
we know your
go.
pain. Yeah. Whew. Well, that wraps up. No,
No,
we
it
have
doesn't.
another.
We have one
We
more.
have a
We got
terrible
one
host
more.
this week. We have one more.
You got one more.
Jody,
So,
give me my negative feedback. I need negative feedback now.
right
So,
now,
My
this
terrible
one's,
hosting.
this one's called
It is.
Your Employees Want the Negative Feedback You Hate to Give. And this is an editor pick from the HarvardBusinessReview.org by Jack Zegner and Joseph Folkman. And so this article was about they ran kind of tests and asked people, you know, do you appreciate constructive feedback? Or excuse me, they use the word positive feedback, and then they also use the word corrective feedback. Even their terms for it are positive. Isn't that sweet? Anyway,
It's like they
and
do it on
so they
purpose.
were and so they were surprised to see that more people wanted corrective feedback, and then they furthered their study by examining the age groups of the people that they.
I thought that was really interesting.
I thought that was really interesting too. So they divided it up in kind of like baby boomers and Generation X and Generation Y, and you know, baby boomers, those would be the older of the older folks, and then Generation X, that average age is what, like 40, and they say Generation Y, the average age is what, 28? Is that what they said the averages
Where
were?
does that leave me?
Where does that leave me?
So where does it leave me?
I think you're a millennial.
I am a millennial.
I think
I
you're
am
a millennial.
definitely a millennial.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. Across the board, everyone wanted corrective feedback. The thing that I disliked most about this article is your employees want to give the negative feedback you hate to give, and there was no collected information in this article that proved that you don't want to give negative feedback. I feel like that's what we thrive on here in
Yeah.
Purnell in particular,
Oh.
giving
Our
negative
industry too.
corrective feedback.
I think this made me think of a time back when I was in high school, and we had this professor and teacher, and we would write papers, and then we'd get our papers back, and we'd be like, have a C with a grade of an 80, and it was all just positive things written on the paper. And we would go to her and we'd say, you've written all nice things in this paper, that's great, why did you give me a C? And she'd say, oh, well, I didn't think you'd want to hear negative things. And we were like, but
What?
that doesn't help us, you're not teaching us anything. So that's how you learn and you grow. It's through learning what you can do better.
Do you find it easier to give negative feedback or positive feedback? Which are you more inclined to?
I'll be honest, I always try to give them together.
Yeah, that's what I was just
Yeah.
thinking.
I don't want to
Yeah.
give corrective feedback if I don't also have something positive to, I don't want to say band-aid, but for me
The
anyway.
Oreo, you sandwich it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not even, you know, for me, the corrective feedback is a lot easier. I am eager for corrective feedback, but it's a lot easier for me to hear when there's something positive to go along with it. So
Sure.
that's how I like to deliver it. You know, I really like that
totally
you
agree
did
with you.
this. Next time, can you try and do this part better? You know,
I guess just the nature of our work, like this article wasn't particularly revelatory to me. Like,
Yeah.
except for the age
feel
thing.
like
I thought the age thing was
It's
interesting.
just
It wasn't really
part of our
surprising, it was
job.
just really
No,
interesting.
yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't surprising.
So.
Just interesting.
Excellent. Well, that
Now
ends this
now-
segment.
now you can wrap us
Finally.
up, Quinn.
I'm just trying to boom, boom, boom. I'm Quinn.
I'm Jess.
I'm Jody.
Join us for our
Third.
final segment.
You're fired.
I'm fired.
Oh my god, I'm punch drunk right now. I'm so tired.
It's been a long week.
Okay. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep right now.
It's been a long week here in Lake Wobegon.